Hi, my name is Tim Buckles. I'm the owner of the wine shop in Manlius, New York, and today we're going to talk about French wines. There seems to be a lot of confusion about how French wine law is set up and how to understand French wines in general. So today we're going to talk about Bordeaux. But first I'm going to cover how French wine's set up. Basically, right around 1935, they came up with these laws called the AOC laws. And basically what they did is they went out and they set up some rules and regulations. And what it really kind of boiled down to was you limit grapes to certain growing areas, you limit the way that you can do production on it, you put some structure on how you make the winemaking process. So they basically put a lot of structure into the grape being an agricultural product and really want it to grow the right grapes in the right place. So within Bordeaux, it's actually pretty easy. There's only 5 grapes that are authorized to grow in Bordeaux on the red side. Cab and Merlot are the 2 base grapes that they do, and when you're in Bordeaux, you're always doing blended wine, so don't be looking for 100% grape varietals. They do have 3 other grapes that you can blend in there, which is Cabernet, Franc, Petit, Verdot, and Malbec. So those are the 5 grapes that they play around with. So if you can understand that within Bordeaux, it's all about blending, and it's mainly Cab and Merlot based. And outside of that, they use the other 3 grapes to kind of help round out the flavors and the profiles of the wines. You've got a pretty good handle on what Bordeaux stands for. Second piece of that was in 1855, they created these classifications. They called them growths, and what they basically did is they took actual individual wineries and they put them together into categories. Most people pay attention to the first 5 growths, which compose about 60 wineries total. And I've got examples of 3 different growths here. I've got a first growth grouping, second growth, a third growth. And all that really means is that they've grouped a bunch of wineries into these different categories, and it was based off of really kind of price and quality of the wines that were being produced at the time. So I have an example of Mouton Rothschild, which is probably the only change since 1855 that was to move from a second growth into a first growth status. Here I've got Chateau Lynch Bages, which is a second growth classification. And you go into the third, and I've pulled Chateau Giscours, and that is basically, first through third growth style wines. Basically in price, you're going to be really kind of jumping up anywhere from $50 to about $100 to anywhere about $400 for the different level wines that you see over here. A couple other things that you want to know about French Bordeaux wines is that they're going to have a right bank and a left bank. Right bank is more clay-based soil, so you're going to have more Merlot growing on that side. You're going to hear terms of left bank wine, which is going to be more gravelly, so it's more based conducive to Cabernet. And so, not to say that that's all they're growing on both sides or that's what they're producing on both sides, but it just means that wines coming from either one of those sides are probably a little bit more Cabernet based or a little bit more Merlot based, if that helps you out. Second thing that you want to keep in mind too is that French wines are based off of vintage, because part of those AOC laws that we were talking about only really allow you to use what Mother Nature provides. So that means you can't irrigate, you can't pesticide, you can't do all these things that you see in other countries. So vintage becomes very important. So as you're taking a look at French wines and you take a look at Bordeaux specifically, you always want to remember a couple key things. You want to remember the house, which is going to be categorized into one of the growths, and that designates kind of a level of quality. You're going to want to know vintage. You want to keep in mind that you're drinking red blends, basically Cab Merlot based with other grapes blended in there. And lastly, you really want to keep in mind that these particular styles are going to be changing by producer, so you really want to kind of find a producer that you like. If you see the word Chateau on the bottle, basically means that the French wine was, they owned and operated all those vineyards that were under their control. If they don't put the word Chateau on there, they're probably sourcing it from almost anywhere. So you're going to look for the AOC designation, you're going to look for the house, you're going to look for the vintage, and if you're smart enough to remember all 60 houses and which growths that they fall into, you can figure out which ones they are. But honestly, in the good years over in Bordeaux, I'd seek out any of the French wines that are over there. And in bad years, go to the people that really kind of do it the best. Hope this helps you understand or get a little bit better handle on French-style Bordeaux. My name's Tim Buckles.